Hey guys, welcome to my channel, welcome to this video. I am back. I am excited to just be able to sit down and talk to you guys, but before I jump into the main topic, I wanted to thank every single one of you for your comments and your support and your like and your shares and your subscriptions. Thank you. I hope that the pieces and the themes found you well, that allowed you to reflect, to seek God, and just to check your hearts really. So I'm doing this video mainly because I just wanted to come and talk about something, you know. Good news, first of all, there is a new piece in the horizon, and this video is really here to just explore the ideas, the foundations, and my two pence on the piece and the topic and the underlying topic. So the underlying topic for this piece is identity. This piece is called Masterpiece. Now, why did I call it Masterpiece, you may think? The reason I call it Masterpiece was from the scripture Ephesians 2 chapter 10, which I'm going to read for you. It says that we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. So this is the New King James Version, but in the NLT version, the word masterpiece is used instead of workmanship. So this theme of a masterpiece, so something that is cultured by the Father, runs quite frequently through the piece itself. As I said, it's about identity. Why did I really write this piece? What led me to write it was more of the season that I was in. I felt like I was in a season where my perception of self wasn't great. My identity and who I thought I knew I was in Christ was being challenged, and it was like, okay, I need to remind myself who I am, because I'm waking up now every single day feeling like, I'm inadequate, I'm not good enough, I can't do that, I don't belong, and all that. So that mindset was starting to rub itself on me and just how I just functioned on a daily basis. So the piece kind of is written from that perspective, from that place, from that mindset, but also looking on the flip side, what God says about me, what God said about you. So ultimately, I guess if I were to have an objective from this piece, it's more so of, may you be reminded of who God says you are. And I'm not even talking about who he says about, what he says about you like in 5-10 years, but like fundamentally, like since the beginning of time, and that is that we're his children. Ephesians chapter 1 verse 4 of time talks about like before the foundation of the world that he had already chosen us. Like that's the primary purpose, I guess, to be his heirs. And I think this piece basically looks at that. Ultimately the goal is, Lord, may I believe that truth, may I stand by that truth. And that's kind of how the piece ends, because at the end of the day, it's still a journey, you know. It's a journey where we're being transformed, our character's being refined, we're being more like him. It talks about, the scripture talks about how that eventually we get to the fullness and mature in the stature of Christ. So this whole identity thing is not something I'm going to wake up and grasp in a day, but it's a journey, and you know, I pray that God will give us the grace to fulfill it and make it to the end. So that's kind of where the piece came from and why I wrote it. But just going back to the topic, I mean, the theme of it being identity, I say that in the process as well. I just was reminded that identity is so important. Identity speaks for you before you open your mouth. There's just something about you walking into a room and like your identity has something to say. You know, there's just something interesting about a Christian, for example, who walks into a room and it's like, there was just something peculiar about you. You know, you're like, it's the glory of the Lord. And, you know, I guess we joke about it, but there is something about identity, something that you carry that you don't even have to open your mouth to say who you are. It speaks for you. I was reflecting on identity. I realized that, you know what, identity, a lot of the time we as human beings it's about who I am, you know, that's who I am. But I believe that identity also stems from whose you are. And I think that's why in the piece I spend so much time looking about the characteristics of God as an artist, as a father, as someone that is just so engrossed in his creation and who we are in him. Why? Because the more you know the Father, the more you know yourself. The more I understand God as Father, the more I understand my position in him as his child. And that is so important with this relationship that we have between him and ourselves. Another thing I thought identity is so important was because identity is linked to our eternity. Identity is linked to our inheritance. The only thing that enables me to experience the spiritual blessings and heavenly places that Ephesians chapter 1 talks about is my identity, is the fact that I'm his child. That's the thing that links me to those blessings and those amazing stuff that God has in store. And you know, it also talks about how we are seated in heavenly places with Christ. Why? Because of our identity residing in him. Our identity is so important. And you know, we have an enemy who is always seeking to kill, steal, and to destroy. Why? Because he understands that this identity, this crown here that God has in store for us, these blessings, these heavenly blessings, this eternity, this beautiful thing that God has in plan for, is all linked to identity. And the enemy is going to come for that because we are his heirs, because we are his children. And you know, as I was reflecting on that, I was reminded of Matthew chapter 4 when the devil comes for Jesus. He's been fasting 40 days and 40 nights and he's going to tempt him. And he's like, if you are the Son of God, then do this. And I just felt like, if, there's something about the word if here that it just sounds so uncertain. If, it's not concrete, you know. And I feel that's how the enemy speaks to us, especially in regards to identity and what we do. He will bring our past, he will make us question who we are, he will make up just lies and truth, and it's like, oh, if you're really a daughter of God, should you have said that? Oh, are you really, or are you really who you say you are because you did this like last time? And like he'll speak lies. He'll speak lies, and he'll have your mind play tricks against you. And I feel like the enemy will come for the identity because it's linked to so much. There is so much, like with that identity that we have in Christ, right, comes the authority that he's given us to trample over scorpions and snakes and lions. Like, do you know what I mean? If that's taken from you, if that's taken from us, start taken from me, I'm in trouble, you know. So there was just that reflection that I know identity is key, and it's something that we should just strive to hold on to fight for. You know, it's important, and I feel like sometimes we forget about it, or we don't put much thought into it, but it holds so much value, like your eternity, my eternity. So yeah, that was just like kind of my thoughts as I was thinking about identity. Also in the process, I was reminded of a painting that I did about who God says we are. Yeah, so masterpiece will be published soon. So I look forward to sharing that